All right. So I guess now you understand what the plan was.
Absolutely. At Colts Law, we talk Indianapolis Colts football.
We're going to stick to what we know, fundamentals and technique, 1% better every day.
What's going on, Colts Nation? I'm Lawrence Owen. With me, as usual, is my boy, Loyalist. And before we get started, I got to shout out Daryl Ingram. 4 days ago, I wasn't even online, wasn't streaming. I ain't posted any kind of live stuff since when we did our live stream Patreon last Thursday, right? And that was Patreon only. But Daryl dropped $75 in a tip jar using that link right here at the bottom of in the description of the video, man. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Absolutely. Another Lost Souls in here. What's up, my guy? That is the dude that keeps me informed of all the ongoings in the NFL so that I'm up to date and I have time to do other stuff. And I don't even ask him to do it. Thank you as well, because you save me a lot of time and money. You really, really do. Truett's in here saying, watching Bring the Juices presser with Ryan. That's freaking awesome. That's awesome. But hey, guys, we're here because Matt Ryan is now the Indianapolis Colts starting quarterback. And Ballard has also made some other moves so far, obviously traded for our edge rusher. That's awesome. What's up, Toxic? Appreciate you being in here. We've gotten a lot of stuff. Apparently, he's got who he feels is going to be our starting left tackle at Matt Pryor. We got Fison at cornerback. I have yet to really see much about him. I am working on a Matt Ryan film room, but I don't know how long that's going to take because I've been so busy. And I can't help that, but I'm doing the best that I can at that. Let's see here. Who else have I left off of this? We've re-signed a bunch of guys, which obviously we needed to do. But the question is, what does the Colts and Chris Ballard do from here on out? Well, literally 20 minutes ago, T.Y. Hilton posted a tweet with nothing but a bunch of pencils signing. Now, on that tweet, it doesn't have Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to assume, and I hate assuming, that it's with the Colts because of how he's talked. There hasn't been any rumors that he's been running around, doing interviews with other teams or anything like that. And obviously, Ballard's talked about, getting him back, that he still liked him a lot. But hopefully, we got T.Y. back. Now we still have some spots that we could really fill, right? I mean, I feel like we could upgrade our wide receiver room a little bit. I feel like we still need a tight end. I feel like we still need depth on the offensive line, especially. We
still need a starter right guard.
unless you're going to drop Pinter in there, I could see that. I could see Ballard using Pryor and Pinter as the starters. But at that point, you need depth across the line, right?
Yeah.
We're using the depth that we had last year as starters this year. We need to refill that depth. And Ballard expressed that concern as well in his interview with Pat McAfee earlier today. Something that I was thinking as well. I could see a little bit more upgrade depth at cornerback and some more depth at safety. Now, especially with Odom gone. So, what do the Colts do? What would you say, Loyalist, is the Indianapolis Colts' number one priority right now after everything that you've heard on what's left on free agency?
I'm still, to your point, the depth. I want starting talent depth. I want Chris Reed. Let's look at getting Chris Reed in here. I know he said that he's going to give Pryor first dibs at the starting left tackle position, but there's some good veteran pass protecting type tackles out there that I mean, you got Jason Peters, who you could possibly look at a 1-year deal. I don't know what his asking price is. I understand he's old. You know what I mean? I do. I understand he's over 40 and stuff. But the thing is the dude was really good in pass pro. And that's the thing. I mean, I know everybody wants that wide receiver and tight end, as do I. But we just signed Matt Ryan to $54 million guaranteed over the next 2 years. So we've got to protect him. You know what I mean? When they restructured that and made it fully guaranteed for 2 years, I mean, you've got to put, some more line. And I know we don't want to have a lot of money, tied up in our O line and stuff, but I still think that there's some, I don't want to say bargain basement, but there's some good values to be had there in free agency. I hope Ballard will look at and at least kick the tires on it and stuff.
Well, I mean, if you look at it, okay, we went from Carson Wentz, who was a mobile quarterback, could get out of sacks very, very easy, to a Matt Ryan, who is a pocket quarterback, all right? Make no mistake, Matt Ryan is not, going to take off and scramble for 30 yards down the field, all right? He's not going to do that kind of stuff. He's not the kind of guy who is going to be engulfed, behind the line of scrimmage by a bunch of D linemen, then somehow squirt out and take off down the field. It's just not Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has had over 40 sacks the last 3 years straight. Okay. Yeah. He'll take those sacks. We got to protect him. And then you got to remember, our main focus on the team is not Matt Ryan. It's that guy standing behind him, right? Yes. It's that Jonathan Taylor fella, all right? You need good blockers up front, across the board, if you want to be a solid run game and take the pressure off Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan has been the guy who has been asked to throw 35, 40 times a game, every game, his entire career. It would be nice at the age of 36 to be like, dude, you don't need that pressure on your shoulders now. We've got a run game, an offensive line, and a defense. All you got to do is just manage. Yeah. Just manage, my guy.
Yeah, and let's get this offensive line. I mean, to your point that, if you see Matt Ryan running, either he's done one of two things. Either he's faked the team out and he's got to walk into the end zone, or he's running for his life. He's like, okay, this is what's best for my survival. Either way, I look back and I think of the a la Peyton Manning era. Later in his career, Peyton Manning was like, hey, if I'm running this ball, if I'm having to run for my life or whatever, the next thing I'm doing is I'm getting up and I'm chewing out my lineman's butt. And that's sort of where I think Matt Ryan is. He'll run if he needs to. He's mobile enough and really good in the pocket to avoid some of that. But like you said, if he's finding himself brushing himself off too much, he's going to be unhappy with one of the upsells of what probably enticed him to come to the Colts.
Man, I was just looking at some stats earlier, just, going through, looking at stuff, history. Matt Ryan has 56 more sacks than Andrew Luck and Carson Wentz combined. But he's only missed 3 games his entire career. 3. Dude is 6'4", 210 pounds. He's a beanpole. Okay? And yet somehow, some way, this guy made of adamantium or something, is out there just unable to get hurt. I want that to continue. Protect the guy. Yes. Don't be the first team in NFL history that goes, well, Matt Ryan missed more than 2 games this year due to the fact that he got hit too many times. I don't want that to happen. I don't want that to happen.
No, and to your point, I mean, yeah, he's taken the most sacks, but I'm curious. I bet you'd find out that he's also probably taken more pass attempts than Carson Wentz and Andrew Luck combined. Because, I mean, shoot, everybody's like, oh, he's dropping off. He's still, other than last year, I think it was 580 attempts, but every year over the last 4 or 5 years, it's 600 plus attempts. It's just like this guy, he may be getting hit, but, he jumps back up, dusts himself off, and gets right back in that huddle and goes at it again. He's not afraid of putting the team on the shoulder if he has to. But to your point, it's got to be a godsend for him to sit there and look at that O-line and look at the pieces around him and go, oh, I remember what this was like, back
Right?
before 2015, 2016.
Matt Ryan was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th in the NFL in pass attempts last year. 560. 560 pass attempts last year at his age. All right. Let's drop that down to under 500. Can we do that? That would be nice. I mean, come on now. Carson Wentz had 516, believe it or not. Right? So it is what it is. People want to talk about also his interception. Carson Wentz's interceptions. And I want to talk. Okay, so not Carson Wentz, but Matt Ryan.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Matt. Matt averages less than 14 interceptions a year. And people are like, that's awfully high number. Well, he also throws a lot. We've talked about this. You got to look at the interception percentage. And his interception percentage is 2.1%, which is in the very good range, okay? That's the top 1/3 of the NFL, okay? Most of the NFL quarterbacks sit around 2.5. And he's sitting at 2.1. That's not bad at all. I'll be perfectly okay with that. And he's not known for fumbling the football when he gets sacked. All them sacks that we just got done talking about, he's not known for fumbling it when that happens. He's pretty good at protecting the football when that happens.
Yeah, and another way he protects the ball is he gets rid of it real fast. You sit there and you can watch him and you can see that Phillip Rivers or Derek Carr type. Get the ball in, get your hand out immediately to your playmakers and stuff. So, this guy just. I understand that the long-term future may not be there, and that's what everybody hopes in the perfect world. But I'll tell you right now, I'm not even convinced that this is just going to be a 2-year deal. That's down the line. Let's see what happens. But I've been going back and watching a lot of the film from last year, and the dude, he played very well. And I know he had Kyle Pitts, but outside of that, Cordero Patterson started, coming into the scheme of things. But heck, they used him almost like a night opening the pass game to the running backs that we sort of lost last year.
Good question. What kind of passing yards are we looking at this year from Matt Ryan? Well, I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be the same as what you're used to, I don't think. Last year was the first year he hasn't thrown for over 4,100 yards in the last 11 years. Mm-hmm. And yet, he still threw for 39.68. Okay, that's still a lot of yardage. Okay, but I don't think he's, like I said, with Jonathan Taylor and this running game that we have, the defense that we have, you're not going to see him throwing the ball nearly as much because, let's face it, most of the times during his time in Atlanta, he was usually behind in games.
Yes,
and he had to throw the ball all the time. He's going to be in so many. How many times last year were the Colts up by 10-plus points and we just were unable to close out? Right? We just were like 5 times we were up by 10 points or more at halftime and weren't able to close out. This is a situation where Matt Ryan's not used to that. He's used to being on the other side of that, where he's like, we're down 10 or more points at halftime, and I have to throw us back into this game. Okay? Yeah. That's not going to happen with this team. That's going to be a little bit different.
And to your point, Matt Ryan, not only does he, play from behind, but a lot of times he does get you all the way back and finishes off these games. Last year, we used all our energy to just get caught up, and then it felt like we just didn't have that little bit to get us the W for that game or whatever. Like when the Ravens, we sat there, we took that massive lead. Then all of a sudden, there in the fourth quarter, things fell apart. The Ravens took, and we had a chance, and we just, we fell flat in that Ravens game. I'm not saying that it won't happen, but Matt Ryan's very well versed at the comeback. So the nice thing is if you do find yourself a little bit behind, you're more apt to believe that he's going to lead you to a victory, more so than I think we got accustomed with Carson Wentz last year.
So the one thing I was worried about with Matt Ryan was his throwing power, right? His arm, due to his age, 36 years old. I was a little worried about his age. I went back and looked at the film, and like I said, I'm in the middle of making his film room right now. Dude still got zip on the ball when he needs to. I mean, zip. He could throw the ball pinpoint in between two guys. That's actually what he specializes in is lasering a ball inside holes in zones. So that's something that Matt Ryan still does very, very well. Do I think that he's our quarterback for the next 10 years? No. But I think we're still going to get very, very good quarterback play out of him for the next 2 or 3 at minimum. And I'm pleased as peaches right now. Now that I'm going over the film room for it, I really do. Yeah. I really do believe that.
Now, with bringing Matt Ryan in and his history that he has with these big body tight ends and stuff, do you think that I mean, if we could have got Matt Ryan a little bit sooner, that would have been awesome, because then we could have reunited him with an Austin Hooper or something like that. But that ship's done sailed, and there's really not any of those type of tight ends that are still in free agency. And I'm just wondering, do you think that moves that need for that position up a little higher just because of Matt Ryan and his history with the tight ends being so prolific?
That's the thing, okay? Here's the question. Did the tight ends make Ryan, or did Ryan make the tight ends? Look at it that way. All right. Remember, it's like, how many receivers were really good in Atlanta with Matt Ryan and then left and then just trash? Let's go look. Let's go look a couple years ago with Mohamed Sanu. You're right. I mean, he was a top end guy. Everybody wanted him. Got traded to the Patriots, and then done. No one wants Mohamed Sanu anymore, right? It is what it is. Now, we have Kylan Granson, who is more of a receiving tight end. And then we have Mo Alley Cox, or as a lot of people like to say, Mo Alley Blocks, right?
Yeah.
Now, to be fair, Mo Alley Cox is that type of tight end that Matt Ryan likes. The big, long-armed kind of, target that he'll lay that ball right there for them to get. This could be a situation where we could see Mo step it back up, like when we saw with Phillip Rivers. Remember, with Phillip Rivers, he played very, very well. Didn't play as well with Carson Wentz. There was some off-target throws that Carson Wentz was throwing to him. Now, there was one throw that he dropped right there at the goal line. Yes, that happened. Everybody has a bad play. Ngakoue Colts fan steps in, drops $5 in the tip jar he used for the right here in the description of the video. Says, "I'm happy. Matt Ryan is a stoic leader type of quarterback that will not make killer mistakes. In my mind, he gives us a chance to," and I have to scroll down to read the rest of it because I'm not brilliant enough to have this open big enough. A chance to contend right now. As a fan, that is all you could want. There is no opponent I am afraid of going into a game, I'm assuming with Matt Ryan at quarterback. It's a great feeling. And that's the thing. You're not going to have to worry about the WTF plays from Matt Ryan. That's complete opposite, right? If a play's not there, Matt Ryan will throw the daggone ball away, right? Yeah. He will live to play another down. That's how he plays.
Yeah, and to your point earlier, and the goes well with what Ngakoue was saying, is Matt Ryan elevates the players around him. Matt Ryan makes the team better, okay? Matt Ryan, and I just hear me out. Matt Ryan's going to make our defense better. How many times last year did we sit there and watch our defense, go out, perform, make the stop, get off the field, and then like in 3 or 4 plays again, they're back on the field and they just, there was too many times where the offense stalled out. Okay. And I'm not blaming Carson Wentz or anybody per se. I'm just saying the offense as general. With Matt Ryan, I feel like he's going to go out there. He's going to be familiar with virtually any and all football situations. That situational football that coach always talks about. He's going to be like, oh yeah, done that, got the T-shirt, been there. We're good to go, and let's move this thing. I think once you get that communication and get learning the new scheme and stuff down, which OTAs going to be massive for Matt Ryan this year. But like I said, I'm like Matt Ryan. I'm really excited, as he kept saying, really excited to sit there and see how he can elevate this game. And with Carson, those WTF it wasn't that he didn't. It just was like, okay, now we got to make up for what this bonehead thing I just did, and it just put added pressure. Whereas Matt Ryan, I feel like if he's going to throw interceptions, it's those real tight windowed interceptions where the pass is really close to being perfect, but yet maybe somebody got a good jump on it or something. I feel like that's where a lot of his INTs have come over the last couple of years.
Absolutely. Goki drops another $1 in the tip jar. Yes, you could drop just $1 if that's all you could afford into the tip jar and still put as much as you want in the list. I'll still say it. He says exactly correct, brother. Go Colts for the shoe. Absolutely. There is one thing now that still worries me as I go through his film. There is a red flag. And it's not because of his limitations. It's because he's in a situation he's never been in before. Last year, Colts fans were livid about, hey, we're not dumping the ball off to our running backs. Mm-hmm. Matt Ryan's not known for that either. He's never had a Nyheim Hines type running back. He's never had a Jonathan Taylor that you could dump it off to in the flat and watch him go 80 for a tug. He's never had that over in Atlanta. So he's always been the guy that's looking downfield as well, like right in front of him, not off to the sides. He's always looking in front, looking for his tight ends and his wide receivers. Now, I'm not saying that he can't, go to that.
Yeah.
That's something I'm going to see, we will see in training camp and report that. But I got a feeling that as much as he's talked about the running game and the Colts, I think he'll probably utilize them. We'll see. But that is still a red flag that I'm still a little bit worried about and I need to see happen.
Well, I'll tell you what, if training camp's anything like it was last year, we're going to see a lot of practice at those throws because that's what we saw a lot, during the first week and a half was just, I remember we were talking, check down Charlie. It was, just boom, boom, boom. They're getting this out, So, yeah, Matt Ryan's going to have, for me, I find it hard to believe that, this isn't something, a skill that he could acquire. He, like you said, he's got to come in and find out what fits him. And then vice versa, the coach has to find out where he fits. But like Ryan said in his presser today, it's not like he hasn't had to learn other offenses. He said he'd had 3 different regimes during his tenure, and he also said 6 different offensive coordinators. So he knows how to learn some of these things, and he he's got a good collection of people that he can look for advice, whether it's Peyton Manning or Matt Stafford. People that have gone through these journeys and stuff. He has that brotherhood, that relationship with these guys that could help not pave the way, but just help give them a little enlightenment about what to expect and overcome.
Hey, I want to take a moment real quick. Appreciate each and every one of you in the chat and watching live. Everything, you guys, reason why we're here. I am going to ask you, please help with the analytics and hit that like button before you forget. All right, just smash it now. That way you don't have to worry about it later. It'll help us out, probably get some more people in here as well. So thank you so much. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live or upload a video. I upload videos like crazy, or at least I have been as of late. I've been doing all kinds of stuff with Believe in Colts and stuff as well with my guy Gerard Powers. I just uploaded one where we interviewed Antoine Bethea talked about the situation that we got going on right now. So go check that out after we're done here. Don't do that right now. Thank you, guys. All right. So, Mr. J567. This is funny because it's true. Can we just skip the part of training camp where half our starters get injured?
Yes, please, yes.
Oh my goodness. I don't want to hear another report the rest of my life about starter has foot injury, because that was like all of training camp. Everybody had a foot injury, and that was nuts. I mean, that was absolutely crazy.
All the hype and all the talk before it happened was, oh, COVID this, COVID that. And it was like, no, we didn't have a whole lot of trouble with COVID. We had problems with bones and foots and ankles.
Right. Cyborg, what's up? He dropped some money in the tip jar at the donation link. Says, here's to Wentz being gone. Gave us $5, by the way. Awesome videos, Lawrence. I'm here for you. I do what I can for you guys. So, if you continue watching them, I'll continue making them. That's how it works, right? So thanks. Appreciate that. Let's see here. Let's get into some other stuff. We got some free agents out there that are available, right? You talk about wanting a starter at left tackle, maybe get another wide receiver. Obviously, someone in the secondary wouldn't be a bad idea either, right? Is there anyone specific besides Peters? I know you said Peters already, but is there anyone specific besides him that you're looking at right now?
Through free agency, no, because everything I look at, I basically say, okay, will these guys, better the room? And maybe somebody with experience, but you got Marvell Tell, you got Brandon Facyson, you got Isaiah Rodgers, you got Kenny Moore the second. Okay, those four, whoever ends up in the starting role and stuff, that's a good competition to start. Like you said, maybe you can get it somewhere in the third or fourth round to, put in a little bit more. But, I would like to see some experience. But maybe, do we rely on the coaching? Do we rely on, bringing in, cornerback, or we just picked him up, he was with us for a year, and now he's our coach.
Mike Mitchell?
Anyhow, Mitchell. Thank you. Yeah. Sorry. Old man brain. But or do we just sit there and rely on Mike Mitchell and the coaching staff to give them all that guidance? Or do you want somebody that's actually out on the field, being that general? Or is Kenny Moore there? Is he in a position that he, will he see more starting reps on the outside? There's just a lot of questions. But like I said, I feel like a lot of that is better answered through the draft. Like you said earlier, I wouldn't mind seeing, maybe a little safety help. I know there's a certain somebody that's been out there, in contact with some other players, you might say. I'm getting a little more on board with listening and hearing that one out. I'm not a big fan of the Julio Jones concept, but there again, I just, for my wide receivers with the talent that's coming in the draft and stuff, I really, really just would like to see go young. It's not like Matt Ryan hasn't been dealing with the, Kyle Pitts and Calvin Ridley, the younger up and coming receivers. He's had his experience and communicated well and performed well. So there's not really anybody that jumps off the paper for me yet.
Yeah, I know you're talking about Tyrann Mathieu, the Honey Badger earlier. There has been interest in both. Obviously, a lot of Colts players, including ex-players, guys that I have talked to, my co-host, my other co-host, Gerard Powers, just talked to him the other day on the phone and was recruiting him. And, so there's a possibility there. Just today, we was talking with Antoine Bethea, and he's like, I'd really like to see Gilly over here, but how much would he cost, right?
Yeah.
How much would Gilmore cost? That would be a heck of a spot for the Colts to have, but I'm a little worried about the Colts because last I knew, Stephon Gilmore wanted a bag, right?
Yeah.
Now, would he take a lot less, to play for a team, that is already maybe one piece shy of being one of those elite defenses? Because really, I feel like that's where they're at right now,
Mm-hmm.
one piece shy of being one of them all-time elite defenses. And
I got a question for you. Do you think we're done with the D line? I mean, because I still sit there and I think, Kamoko Toure is still out there, And you know how Ballard loves getting that pressure.
I think, here's the thing. I think Toure is one of those guys that he's letting kind of search around free agency, kind of get an idea what he's worth.
Mm-hmm.
And then Ballard will offer him a money and give him a choice. I think that's how that works out. He's done that a lot with players in the past, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a situation that could be sitting there. Drunken Master says Toure was re-signed. Let me go look that up. I do not remember him being re-signed.
I knew Tyquan Lewis was, but
yeah, I knew Tyquan Lewis was re-signed. Yes. Give me a moment. Let me look that up.
Somebody else I've sort of. Are we looking to bring back Stallworth? Are we looking, if you guys are ever on the Discord, Brandon Woods, or he's on the channel a lot, he's got a young man that he's really high on, Rashid Green, out of Seattle, that what I'm asking, I guess, is, are we looking for some fresh blood with this new scheme that we have being implemented from, Coach Bradley and Coach Ollie?
I mean, that's a good possibility, but like I said, I think Kamoko Toure fits that bill perfectly, in my opinion, especially the Leo. And no, Toure is not signed with anyone. Same with Chris Reed, Xavier Rhodes, Eric Fisher, and Taylor Stallworth is not coming back. They've already stated they will not re-sign him, that they were going to let him go. So just FYI, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. But yeah, I honestly, another thing is I sort of feel like the tackle situation may be very similar to what we went through last year. I think Ballard, seeing what's out there, aside from maybe Dwayne Brown taking a cheaper contract, and I don't see that happening, I just don't see us getting the answer before draft at the tackle position. I think Ballard's going to go out there, see, where the chips fall as far as in the draft, and then try to maybe find more reinforcements after the draft. What do you think?
It's possible. Dwayne Brown's a bit on the upper end side,
Mm-hmm.
Also he's 37. I mean, he's got a little bit of age on him as well. He'll probably cost. He won't cost nearly as much as what a lot of people think. I don't think he's going to want more than 11, 12 million. I really don't. Taron Armstead will.
Yeah. Yes.
But
my thing is do you think Ballard puts that much resources into that position with his stance that he made clear on Pryor that, Pryor's going to get first crack? Do you really think he's going to put, a $10, $11 million person in there at that point in time?
That's an interesting question. I don't know. From what it sounds like, probably not.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. You still need somebody. I still think you need to get somebody at guard also, like you said.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to see Chris Reed re-signed. He's probably, in my opinion, now this isn't fact, but I feel like Toure and Reed are those two guys that he's like, go check it out and come back to me. That's what I feel like is going on there anyhow.
Is there any cornerbacks that you can think of outside of
Gilmore?
Gilmore? Yeah. Because I see that having a hefty price tag on it.
I hear you. I feel like there is a hefty price tag on Gilmore as well. Excuse me, sorry. Some guys I'd be a little bit worried about. Some guys I don't know. Like I don't know if I want Trey Waynes. I don't want Joe Hayden. I get he's out there. I don't want him. Kyle Fuller for the Denver is available. Yeah, Chris Harris, but he's not more of an outside corner, right? Same with Patrick Peterson. There's just not a lot of good options right now, unless you want to go with an AJ Boye, or something of that vicinity. But man, there's just not a lot of great option right now.
Yeah, and I feel like that's sort of where the receivers are in free agency, because you got Marquez Scantling from
Valdez.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
I see, because I'm looking for speed. I'm looking for somebody that can just open the top up off the field, or at least extremely high route running to where they can get that separation. And you look at the rumor mill, and Julio Jones doesn't fit in either of those. And I understand he's got the history with Matt Ryan. I understand he could help MPJ a little bit, but I think Reggie can do everything that, as far as coaching up MPJ, that I understand they play different, but Reggie still knows how to coach that stuff up. He still knows about foot placement and getting your hips in front of the defender and guarding them off and all that. So I don't want to bring in a bunch of old players that, may fall off, may drop. I understand you have to bring some of them in, but you got to keep it. You can't sit there and just start bringing in all these long in the tooth players and expecting the play not to fall off.
Well, you have Will Fuller, who's a speed guy, but the only problem with him is he's got an issue with injuries. And we're full of that. We have Ty and Paris Campbell on the team. That's plenty right now of injury scaring us with possibility of injuries right now. I'd love Jarvis Landry, but he's going to want a bag, right? How much do you want to invest in the opposite receiver of Michael Pittman Jr.? That's a big question. Don't know. A guy that I get pushback because of his open stance against the vaccination.
Okay.
But I like Cole Beasley. Even at 32 years old, he still is very good route runner, gets open, and would be someone I feel like Matt Ryan would be able to find. Okay. But I get a lot of you, because of his stance, don't want him. Yeah.
I might as well ask you, even though I think I know the answer, but where do you stand on the OBJ? He liked the move that Ballard made to get Matt Ryan and stuff. And he's injured, probably won't be back until week 4 or later because of the injury. So, do you take on that?
I would, if he's willing to do another Rams style deal. If he wants to play for $1 million, I'd be like, welcome to the team, open arms. I doubt that's going to happen because he obviously showed he's not washed. OBJ still plays very, very good football. But again, he had that Achilles tear in the Super Bowl. He's probably not going. He's going to miss time now, or not Achilles, but ACL. Now I talked about this with guys earlier, and they were like, you know what, with Antoine Bethea and Powers, and they were like, players these days heal faster than what they used to. he could get back, before you expect.
Mm-hmm.
It's possible. I don't know. I would still want to wait before signing him, though, just to get a better idea, because I think it's too early to tell when his return date would be, because he just had that surgery a couple months ago, 3 months ago, or 2 months ago. Yeah, 2 months ago. So we got to give him a little bit of time to figure out when his return date is, but if he wants to sign, like I said, if he wants to sign a 1-year deal for under $6 million, I'd be okay with that. Even if we have to drop him on the PUP list or IR or something, right before, you know what I mean, to kind of keep him off the 53, and then when he gets back, bring him back in, I would be okay with that.
Do like we did with Odangbo, and except, this guy's not a rookie. He's an elite talent, and I the whole circus that is OBJ or what comes with him, whether it's, him getting in an argument with a kicking net or whatever, all that to me is just, I don't see any of that being a problem. Honestly, I feel like the locker room, and honestly, I kind of dig it. I know it's got a bit of craziness to it, but I like to see the passion in the game and stuff. And that's where a lot of that for me originates from, is just trying to win so bad and trying to, perform so bad. And whenever, when did that happen? Oh yeah, during the Giants, whenever they were void of quite a bit of talent, and it had to be frustrating, So and the whole what happened in Cleveland, everything you've heard and stuff, OBJ was a decent guy there and stuff, and a lot of the silliness had been subdued, and you don't hear any of that from the Rams. So, like I said, I wouldn't mind looking at that, because you look at this draft, there's multiple of these top tier receivers that are coming in. Alabama, they got 2 of them, torn ACLs, one in the SEC championship, one in, the championship game for the NCAA, so both of these guys are recovering from ACLs and stuff. It's almost like you just sit there and you're not a wide receiver unless you've had at least one of those. I don't know if that's the right way to look at it, but and to your point, they do heal so much faster. The surgery is so much better now.
Absolutely. And you know what? We have everybody out there recruiting people. So, whoever's left on free agency, come to the Indianapolis Colts and take a pay cut. Take a pay cut to win a ring. That's what everybody does anymore. So go ahead and do it. That's my guy. If you want more, if you like this kind of stuff right here, canvas, straight up canvas, it's really nice. Go check out the Backroom Collection. This channel is proudly sponsored by the Backroom Collection. They do beautiful sports canvas art with football, basketball, baseball, and other sports themes. Special orders are accepted and autograph pieces are available. Many Indianapolis Colts signed pieces will be available beginning in November. Just use your discount code CL10 to purchase the pieces you want to spice up your living area. That's CL10. Hell yeah. Come on now. It is what it is. Guys, don't forget to smash that like button and hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Very important to make sure that notification bell is hit. And the like button, like we already discussed. Let's see here.
And while you're at it, share it to any of the social media platforms that you guys use. That's going to help out a ton.
Oh, yes, it will. Got a good thing here. Speed Maverick Garage in here. Longtime supporter. Says Paris needs to stay healthy. Oh, my goodness. If Paris Campbell could have 1 year where he's healthy, he'll be a star in the NFL. But he's got to stay healthy. Oh, my goodness, right?
Yeah, all those things that we were talking about with receiver, if T.Y.'s pencils meant he's signed with the Colts and stuff, we have the receivers that this team needs. It's just a matter of, do we have them and for how many games? How many games can these guys stay on the field and produce? And we talked about it, earlier, you want to acknowledge that you have those guys, but you want to act those as if they're luxuries. You know, I mean, if they stay healthy or whatever, that's a plus. That's more depth.
Yep. Yannick Ngakoue, we don't talk about him enough. Mm-hmm. We don't. Everything's been, for the last week and a half, ever since free agency started, because he was traded for before free agency started. Oh my goodness. It's all been about the quarterback, and we completely forgot we got our man. All right. This is a guy that Chris Ballard hasn't been able to fill in a while. He has been a double-digit sack guy his entire career, and he's young. All right. He's in a system that fits him perfectly. He's never in his career played beside a guy that is at the caliber that DeForest Buckner is, and they're going to be a monster together. We had issues with pass rush last year. That will not be our issue this year. I almost guarantee it. All right. And the fact is that Yannick is now going to be on the left side. It's going to put Pay where I feel like it's his better side, and that's the right side of the line, because he's good against the run too, and that's what you want from your right defensive end. Mr. J567 drops $5 in the tip jar. Appreciate you, my guy. Says re-sign Teray for $3-4 million. Wait, Banagoo. If it was up to me, this would be done and done. All right, yeah. I'm just saying. It would be done and done.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure where Banagoo even fits, because I mean, more I hear from Coach Ollie and Coach Bradley about this defensive scheme and the way. I mean, guys, we have been clamoring for this D-line to step up and produce at a high level, and it sounds like there is no excuses with this scheme. I mean, did you get to hear the Ollie press interview thing that he did, where he was talking about it's time to unbuckle the seatbelts? It's just straight to the quarterback, pin your ears back every play, and then if you happen to see somebody running the ball, grab him on the way by, type of thing. So I am very excited to see how that just works so much better with this secondary help, because like you said, Ngakoue is familiar with it. Ngakoue sits there and he has a relationship with Quiddy. So these guys can get on the same page fairly quickly, I mean, and to your point, I mean, it's got to be nice having a Max Crosby on the other end, but it's got to be even nicer to sit there and have somebody like Defoe that's lined up right next to you. Because Crosby, yes, I understand you have to acknowledge both ends, but when you're starting to get the guy next to you, now you've got to decide, do we double team Ngakoue? Do we double team Defoe? You know what I mean? Or if you double team both of them, all of a sudden, Quiddy, there's your free pass, or or Grover, or
the blitzer. Right.
I mean, I would say that if the Colts don't, how many sacks did we have last year? Wasn't it like 30?
30-something.
Yeah.
The guy with the most sacks on the team was 7.5, and that was Defoe.
Yeah. That cannot happen this year. I mean, Defoe, push him, test him, get double-digit sacks, make him get 15. That's what I want to see this year. I really think this scheme, and the way I understand it, because for the last 3 years, you sit there at the beginning of the offseason, you're like, this D-line's pretty strong. But then it just always fell flat, whether it was Banagoo not stepping up, or whether it was Quiddy with injury history. But I'm telling you right now, this defensive line can really be deeply, deeply improved just with the Yannick, let alone whatever else that they still bring in.
And that's the thing about the defensive line. I expect our defensive line to be a terror this year, as opposed to what we were used to seeing. With Matt Eberflus, see, the Colts, we have a lot of scrambling quarterbacks in our conference that we play against, right? And I will give him credit, even though we didn't get a lot of sacks, we got a lot of pressures, and we held those guys down really, really well. Because of the way that he had the ends would play contain rather than go after the guys, right? Mm-hmm. So I get that. But at times, you just got to go get them, you know, and I feel like Gus Bradley's that guy that will do that. And when you do that, that's going to take a lot of pressure off your secondary. I get we lost Rock Ya-Sin in the trade with Yannick. I understand that. That's why I say we need something in the secondary, whether it's another safety for depth or another corner for depth, something of that nature. But these guys are going to be able to play so much better and easier when the quarterback only has 2 seconds to throw the football rather than 7. Okay? I'm just saying.
and I don't know. I mean, you guys all know I was all about Rock, and he had a great year. He made me look like a genius. You know, I mean, he so thank you for that, Rock. But I don't think that we're losing as much when we lose Rock, but then we replace him with Facian, because you go and you start looking. I mean, the kid just hasn't had the opportunities. But I mean, obviously, Bradley thinks highly of him. I mean, heck, he's played for him with the Chargers. He played for him with the Raiders. I mean, but you sit there and you watch this guy. I mean, a lot of what Rock brought to the table, that good tackling cornerback, that physical, aggressive, Rock was that wrestler type thing, I mean, whereas Facian doesn't really show that, but he still shows that real good aggression uptight on these receivers and stuff. And not to mention, he's already understands his scheme really well. He's going to be able to communicate and expedite the rest of the guys in the secondary, understanding where they need to be and why they need to be there, because, he's been there, done that. And so it hurt losing Rock, but I'll take a pass rusher over a cornerback. And not to mention the fact that we also got another cornerback that I think that people are going to be really intrigued to see. I mean, training camp's going to be awesome to see this kid, because, what I've seen on film and stuff, which obviously it's just the highlights, and stuff. You don't really see the good and the bad and the ugly, but what I've seen from the highlights, there's some upside to this kid. So I'm sad that we lost Rock, but I'm not, it's the end of the world for our cornerback room, because like I said, I think that we did pick up some piece there to help lessen that damage.
Yeah, I mean, but at the same time, Facian's not Rock Ya-Sin. Okay, there's a reason. There's a reason why Rock Ya-Sin was a man-for-man trade with Yannick, right? Because he stepped it up last year and became a solid starter. So that is what it is. Now, one thing I do want to discuss is my brain kind of stopped for a second, but what was I thinking about when I was thinking, and I blah blah. Yes, it is easier to find a cornerback than a defensive end in the NFL. Absolutely. Okay, Larry Brown talks about Calais Campbell. I wouldn't mind, but the problem is all right, Stewart's our starter at the one tech, period, end of story. Calais would have to take a backup role. Would he be willing to take a backup role at his age? Maybe, right? Especially a backup role as the kind of guy, to tutorship. Kind of like what Freeney did when he went to Atlanta, right? Dwight Freeney went to Atlanta to kind of teach up Vic Beasley. And while Freeney was there, Beasley had the best season of his career, right? Calais Campbell could do that with Stewart, right? I feel like, but he would have to take a downgraded role and wouldn't, don't want to spend so much money on that. So I don't know if that's something that he would be looking forward to doing. I don't know. Guys, we're 41 minutes in, 37 viewers. Don't forget, hit that like button. Guys, also, you like that hat he's wearing? I like that hat he's wearing. I think that's pretty slick.
Got a pretty good looking hoodie too.
He got a hoodie as well. Guys, go check out my my merch shop, because I got a lot of stuff in there, and it's coming around, Mother's Day, Father's Day is coming up. That'd be pretty cool. You got a birthday coming up, or do you just want to treat yourself with some really nice merchandise and help us out at the same time? Make sure to check out the Colts Law merch shop. The link is in the description of this video. There are a ton of high quality, reasonably priced items there that you can choose from. all you got to do is just click one button, and you can go and check out all these great merchandise items. Also, before I end up leaving here, I have to hit up Newsbreak. That's right, my bad, because we drop Newsbreak stuff, and I will be dropping a couple videos for Newsbreak today. So go check that out. Use the link in the description. That'll help us out big time. That puts $5 in our pocket every time. Every time someone downloads the app for the first time and gives me a follow. So, and that's free. It's a free app. This video is sponsored by Newsbreak. Newsbreak is an app used over 1.5 billion times a month by people just like you to get local news via articles or videos by those who are focused on that specific area. People like myself. Just use the link in the description of this video to download it. Then search a city, state, or someone specific, like myself, Colts Law. Then make sure to follow them so you'll get all the news fresh as it comes out. So, we basically talked about most of the stuff that I really wanted to talk about today. And Toxic's in here, and he says that if we dodge the first real jinx, this is where, yes, that first week jinx, Kwity and Deo have a lot of potential. Add Ngakoue, oh boy. Let's talk about jinx. Let's talk about something. If Matt Ryan can do these two things, then he will be considered the Colts quarterback for the rest of his life, at least in Colts Nation. Win week 1, beat Jacksonville in Jacksonville. Right there. And if he could do the two simple things. Am I
while you're
wrong?
at it, no, but while you're at it, go ahead and throw a Super Bowl in there too, man.
Well, you know.
I mean, if you're going to do that, if you're going to really overcome those massive hurdles, you might as well just take down the Super Bowl.
But really, those are simple hurdles. I mean,
I know.
Right. Can you beat the worst team in the NFL at their own house? Well, the Colts ain't been able to do it since like forever, like 2014. Or some crap like that. And then winning week 1. We ain't done that since, midway through Luck's career. So, I mean, good Lord. Joe B says, I hope week 1 is in Jacksonville. That way you can kill both birds with the same stone. All right. And that would work for me too. Matt Ryan is good. He's got a history against Jacksonville, and he has lit them up. I'm pretty sure he's undefeated against them. So
4-0.
Yeah, let's go do this. Let's go do this. All right. Colts haven't won week 1 since 2006 is what MJ567 says. I know it's been a long time. It's stupid. But we haven't done a very good job of starting the year off in quite some time. We've been in holes quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think the best that we've started off is in the last 8 years is 3-2. I think is the best that we've started off in, and generally we start off like 0-2. So.
Yeah, and I think that's why the organization is so adamant about wanting to get in a full OTAs this year. I mean, because they said that before we even knew before we knew they were moving from Carson Wentz. They may have already known, but they said that like before season end and stuff, that they were going to really push hard to get these OTAs. And I mean, Matt Ryan not being familiar, and if you want to win that week 1, week 2, all the way through week 17, go undefeated, go Pat McAfee, just got himself a suite. So he's, so
Ballard was selling him for it too, wasn't he? Oh my goodness.
Yes, he was. And he did a very good job on closing the deal. But like I said, I think that this year, the starts of the season and stuff, I think, we play the AFC West. So if they sit there and pile on, the Raiders and then you follow it up with the who would it be? because we got. Trying to think who all we play out of the AFC West on our schedule this year, because we got the Raiders and then we've got.
If we only play, do we play which division do we play? The
AFC West and an NFC
East.
East, yeah.
Well, everybody in the AFC West then we'd have to play.
Yeah,
we got that, which is Kansas City, the Raiders, the Chargers, and the Broncos.
Broncos, yeah. So as long as we don't have them for the first 4 weeks, because that's going to be a tall task.
Well, you remember last year, the Colts had the toughest schedule to start a season off in, like, the history of the NFL or some crap like that. Like, the first 6 games was, like, all playoff teams that won 10 or more games a year before. It was ridiculous. And don't forget, last year, they said the same thing about the Colts playing the NFC West last year, which was the dominant team or division in the NFL, right? The dominant team. And the Colts played all of them except Seattle really good. Seattle was that week 1 thing that happened, right?
Hey, we didn't lose any players that bad, so we're okay.
Yeah. But we took the Rams right up to the wire, and they were the Super Bowl champions. We beat the snot out of the Niners, and we beat the Cardinals with our backups.
With our backups to backups, yeah.
Right?
Yes.
So, I mean, Indy plays tough teams well. Mm-hmm. They play better against good teams. So I would rather have a tough schedule than an easy schedule, honestly, because it seems like they just do better against the tough teams. When we played Tampa Bay, should have beat them, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, good Lord, I hate bringing up bad memories, ladies and gentlemen, but we played Buffalo. What did we do to Buffalo again? I can't remember. Oh, yeah, we smashed them. We took them out behind the woodshed, right? That's what we did. So, I mean.
We did the same thing to the Ravens for 3.5 quarters, and then. Yeah, that one still probably sticks. I mean,
a little bit.
Jacksonville, week 17, and that one are just, man, they're just stuck there. I'm like that line with the splinter in his paw. I need Colts football to take it out.
Yeah. Well, the last 2 years versus the Ravens, because it was identical losses. We jumped up to the exact same lead at the first half and then lost at the end in overtime in both games for almost the exact same reasons.
See, and that's where I'm interested to see how this new scheme with Ollie and stuff, does this allow Lamar to get more yards in the rushing? But does this also, create more turnovers because Lamar's running for his life and not always turning to his legs to solve the problems?
Yeah, it's possible. It is possible. Guys, it's we're 50 minutes in. I have to prepare here in about a little over an hour. I have to join Buffalo Fanatics Rico. We're going to be talking about the Colts and the Bills offseason. I haven't yet to eat today, so give me a little bit of time. Be over there. Go check them out. Go check out Buff Fanatics. Just hit Buff Fanatics. Check them out on Twitter. Check them out on YouTube. I will be there later. Guys, if you do not follow us, if you're not a Patreon supporter, what are you waiting on? $5 a month, guys. $5 a month, and you get everything. The uncut versions of our of all of our Believe in Colts stuff, from the point that we're both there to the point where we both leave. It's uncut, straight. You get all the info, all the stuff right there. Whereas, otherwise you got to live with whatever I cut up and send on YouTube. All right. And then on Thursdays we have the Hangout, which is full every freaking Thursday night at 8:00 Eastern. Man, we sit here and we talk. Well, last week we talked 3.5, 4 hours. Holy crap! Just sat here and it was all about football this time. We didn't get off the rails and start talking about cars and horses and whether or not we like plaid. Which happens. We talk about whatever comes up.
Yeah, and by the way, Toxic Tommy, if you're still in here, I'm sorry about that on Thursday. He was putting in questions and I was missing it at first.
Yeah.
But I will be better this week if it happens.
It's just, he was new. Loyalist was new to being a moderator or an admin on the thing. I just added him and showed him how to do that. So, he's still learning as he goes. So,
but we did answer your questions. You just have to fast forward it 4 hours to get towards the end. And I was like, oh, by the way, we went through and did answer.
Wasn't quite 4 hours. It was like a half an hour after his last question. But
Right.
Yep. But guys, thank you all so much. Appreciate you. Smash that like button. Hit subscribe if you're not subscribed. Tag that notification bell so that you are notified next time we go live. And as usual, I'm Lawrence Owen.
I'd like to say one
Go
thing
ahead.
real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay. We got a real good friend from our Discord. We talk about it all the time and stuff. And by the way, another lost soul. You sit there and you want to bring your talents to the Discord. We all that current date updated information and stuff. We've got tweets, we've got memes and stuff. But I wanted to give a shout out to Joe Mama Thornburg. He's been sick a little bit and dealing with some stuff, and I just wanted to let you know we're thinking about you, brother, and hurry back.
Blessed. Get feeling better a lot faster, man. He's been big for us. He runs a lot of the Discord. He's in all the Patreon streams. He's there for us, and he's a very good guy. So yeah, get feeling better. And until next time, as usual, have a good one.
Just because a player's not a household name doesn't mean we can't make him a household name.
Who's gonna have a good season? You're gonna have a good season.